In this section, we're going to learn how to create text on a path. There are several tools in Photoshop that can create a path, such as the pen tool, but we're going to use the oval tool, or rather the oval shape tool, if you will, to create a path to put our text on. Now, I've got a file that you should download called Cascade, and it's also got a little notepad in it, and if you don't see this pad, just go up to Window, Notes, and it will appear. I'm going to double click that right now because this is the text that I'll have you use to put on the path. So just to get that out of the way, with it currently highlighted, I'm simply going to copy that and hang on to that in the clipboard. And I can collapse this now. So I've got that text currently selected and copied, and we will apply it to a path. So I'll start with my shape tool, and I'll go with the oval tool, and I'll just create a big arc here basically and get it about this size. Now if I don't like the position or if I want to refine it, while I'm creating it I can hold down my space bar, which allows me to move around. Once I let go of my space bar, I continue to create that shape, if you will. So I'm going to say this is pretty good for what I'm trying to get. Actually make it a little smaller here and just position it to the center. I can always do this after the fact, but why not get it done right away here to be efficient. Alright, so my shape is in place. I propose to put that text on the top part of this oval, if you will. So I'm going to go over to my text tool now. I could hit T on the keyboard, which would select my text tool. Now just to make sure we're all on the same page when we start, go up to your options bar at the top, go over the text tool icon in the options bar, and with your control key down on the Mac or right click on the PC, choose Reset Tool. That's just to get us all back to these same basic settings. Now if I move my text tool over the picture, if I'm outside of the shape, I would just be creating what's called point type, which is basic text on a line. If I move it inside, it would be creating text inside the path. In other words, it would be filling this oval shape to the best of its ability. Or the third option, which is what we're going to do, is to carefully place this over the line, on the line if you will, and click where we want to start. And you can see the icon change. So I'm going to click here, which creates an insertion point. Now that I've created that or established that, I will go Edit Paste. And now you can see my text paste on the line. Now it's a little hard to read here. Number one, it's black and it's fairly small. I can triple click on that text with the text tool, which highlights all the text. And at this point I can go and make some changes to the font, the size, the weight, the color, and so on. For now, I'm just going to set it to bold. I will reduce the size to 10 point. And we'll leave it at that for now. Actually, you know what? I will change the color too. I'll go over to my color chip, set color, and I can either pick a color inside of the color picker, or I can actually go outside with the color picker out here with the eyedrop tool and choose a color and establish that. So I've done it that way. I click OK, and now my color, my font, my size, my style has been set. However, I do not like where the text sits on the line, so I do need to make an adjustment there. Now again, to be able to move this text along the path, I'm going to go to my Path Selection tool, which is this black arrow. And if I go over this start point, it might be hard to see, but when I move my cursor, you see that it has an arrow going to the right, and if I move it over here, it has an arrow going to the left. Basically, this right arrow allows me to click and drag the text and slide it along the path. Now you'll notice if I move inside the path, it actually drops the text on the inside of the line. If I drag it above the line, it remains on the outside, which is where I want to maintain it. But we had initiated a start point, if you will. And I can't go past that. It kind of bumps into it. So I'm going to move it along here for a second. And this is in fact the end point of my closed path. I'm going to move the end point all the way around, sort of down around here somewhere. So That will allow me to move my text anywhere up until that point. So if I, again, grab it with the arrow pointing to the right, you see this circle is being dragged. That's my endpoint, as I said. Now it's going to shift the text, or it may shift the text. It didn't in this case. But I'll go back to my text, grab it when that little black arrow is facing right, and I can drag that text along the path. And now it doesn't have that wall, if you will, or that impediment in its way. And I'll just try to center that as best as I can. And again, that's using the path selection tool. Once I'm happy with that, I can go to my move tool and in fact just move it anywhere I want. And I can always go back and re-edit. Again, I can go back to my path selection tool and do whatever I need to do, make some fine-tuning adjustments. Or go to my text tool, triple click, and again make some changes there. If I wanted to make it even smaller as a font, and then go back to my path selection tool and refine that positioning. It's always editable. And that is how we create text on a path. And I'd like you to do one of these for me today as well.